As we come down into the final turns of this race, we are crazy chaotic. There's like 4 people right on me. All right, hello everybody. Welcome to this week's daily race. Today's daily race C that we're going to be doing, and it is Trial Mountain in reverse. I'm using the 4C, and I'm honestly struggling pretty bad with it, but we're gonna just hop in and see. I think because I've been doing a lot more online racing, I think that my driver rating is starting to settle, and I'm starting to get into less chaotic lobbies and people more in my level of racing, I guess. So that's kind of nice to see. It feels like there's some progress, even if it's not very quick. I'm at least learning something. So today I actually wanted to talk about a little tool that I'm starting to use that, as a beginner sim racer, that I think is going to be something that gets crazier as the years go on. So as you can see right above my webcam here, there is a little screen that is saying that I need to do an outlap right now. So what's above me right now is I can't even think of the word right now. I'm like totally spacing on what it's called. The telemetry data. It's all of the telemetry data from Gran Turismo, which, if you don't know, playing on console limits the compatibility for a lot of those types of apps and just a lot of third-party like regulation in general. So your development and your kind of open-ended access to things like you can on PC, where people can make like tons and tons of mods for, I mean, every game that's out there. But Gran Turismo, it being locked on PlayStation and console, you have to do a whole like system setup process to connect your PlayStation to the app and then let it detect your system, and then you do your first lap of your race or time trials or whatever you're doing. And then afterwards, what this app is going to do is it's going to go through, and it has, and we're going to wait right there because I forgot what I was trying to say while I was saying it during this part. What the app actually does is track your lap time, compare it to the reference lap that you select, and then this tool will give you just useful information and insights. So like, you brake too much on this corner, you were like 15% more on the brakes for your lap than the average driver, or you could have sped up like this, or you could have been in this gear. And it sort of opens up your mind as a beginner driver like me. It opens up my mind to thinking like, well, if I take this turn differently, or if I go wider here and less here, am I going to gain speed, or am I going to be able to pass better? So I do a really bad job of explaining that, but let's continue with the rest of the video, and then I'll talk a little bit more once we get into the race. So you can imagine it feels a little discouraging to put all this time and money and effort into this hobby and then still be last. Honestly though, I'm not really discouraged. I'm just happy to learn. Like, I'm happy to feel like I'm growing at something, you know? I am pushing myself as hard as I can to complete with videos. I'm trying to be a little more consistent, and on top of that, my driving, I'm doing everything I can to get myself into the top splits of some of these lobbies. Big challenge for me. So a tool like this, like what's above me right now, is actually really useful for even advanced drivers who have driven before and or maybe are higher up in the ranks. You don't know where you could be losing a couple hundredths of a second, or, you know, really making the difference of your races. You don't know if your line is the most optimal or not. I am on an ultra wide, so you'll have to bear with me, but let's go ahead and take a look here. So the real information comes from this little insights right here. So you can see right up here, it says, looks like you're losing most time in SQ11. Here's how you can improve. You click on show me, and it will show you here what section it's talking about and which section on the track. And you can see down here, I have a reference lap loaded up. I'm still learning how to use it, but you can see here there are tons of reference laps that you can load up, and you can see what kind of car they're in, what lap time they got. And you can load up that time right next to yours. So like, for instance, let's say this GTR here, which is actually a pretty competitive car in this race and in this class. So I can load up this reference lap from the GTR that was there. And when I click on show me for the insights, so it's going to update and show here that, like, so you can see braking is one of the biggest issues of mine. So I was 18% higher than this reference, which is a lot. 32 miles an hour slower than on the entry. On the Apex, I was 34 miles an hour slower, and I was 1 gear lower than that reference lap. And you can see it's got tips too about, like, so you may be focusing more on control over speed, which definitely through this fast like section here, I am really focused on not losing the car in this section, because this is heading up to the final. This is the final turn here. And this corner here, you can kind of cut a lot of it. So when you're coming out of the racing, it's making so much more sense to me now. Because in my head, I'm like, well, I can take these corners fast, but if I can't link them together, it's not going to matter. And that's true, and it's showing that it's more true. So like, and take a look here too, like the reference line is way wider right here than mine is, so his exit is going to be a lot cleaner than mine is. And this turn here is this is the other tunnel, right? You come up around into the other tunnel, out into these quick S's here, down into the final turn. Yes. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, what I think is going to be the most beneficial thing for me to do, is I'm going to go in to Trial Mountain on the same setup and everything. But I'm going to go in, and on Gran Turismo, I'm going to turn on the braking assist. I want it to show me where to brake and show me where the braking zone starts, and see if I'm braking too early or too late. Like, visually see. I am braking like really bad on a lot of these corners. It's very inconsistent. One thing I am reminding myself of is that when I started this hobby out with a G29 and very poor skills on anything really, I realize now after 3 years of fully doing this like as good as I can. Wow, this looks so crazy. Dang, that is way earlier. That's a way earlier start than what I was doing. Which is good that it's earlier, because see how much cleaner I took that corner just then. All of those bad habits I picked up initially from learning how to drive and how to race, I would never have even thought to look at things a certain way that I am now. So I'm realizing, like, not just growing, but I'm realizing I need to really go through and genuinely relearn certain aspects of driving and racing, like how to properly enter and exit corners and how to trail brake more properly and where to really pick up the, like, right there. So that was one of my points right there. That turn was one of my biggest sectors. This too, I was taking this way too slow, so I need to speed up on it. But that point right there, I remember that because that was part of those quick S's, and that's where it showed fully red, was I was slowing down too much on those. So I need to figure out what gear is optimal for those S's. I'm going to call them the S's. I don't really know what to call them. I'm going to figure out what gear is optimal for that part of it and go from there. See, like here, I know third is most optimal for this this section here, because I don't have to shift at all. I can just brake and throttle straight through. And for the most part, that wasn't as clean because I was kind of focused on talking, but for the most part, I can kind of roll my way around that track there. You saw, like, I just got up to fourth for just a second. Same right here, just kind of let off, little brake, keep it right on the apex there, then power. Something that I do wish was easier, which is still pretty easy in this game, but you can't really do it unless you're doing the official, like, lap attack or time trial. But I wish you could do sector laps, much like just keep looping the same sectors over and over again. You can only do like this, like full circuit experiences, not just sectors. I don't think, I mean, I'm gonna feel really dumb if you've been able to do sectors this whole time and I just don't know how to do it. But oh yeah, if I stay consistent throughout that corner there, get a little more speed pulling up into this. Oh wow, that's way better. Look at that, 300ths faster. Are you serious? That's crazy. I'm gonna pull away from it here too, because I'll have a better exit on that. That was the perfect, I think that was the perfect take on that corner. I do want to see. Not the cleanest exit on that, but it's all right. Take this here. I need to stop doing such aggressive turns too. I need to be smoother. Like that. That was really smooth. Okay, and let's just take it from the beginning. So from the very first red mark that it has on here, you can just click to the top up here. You can see I did actually get this corner down, which I was having a hard issue with. This is the first turn here. So you can see I got this down. The exit though was a little too slow. So I braked 53 feet earlier than the reference. Yeah, I think that makes sense because I feel like I came around here, didn't brake enough, and I see how I cut the corner here, but he went wider. So I need to, right here, I'm almost perfect. He cuts the corner a little more than I do, than I'm comfortable with, but I'm almost perfect there. So start and exit of the corner, and then this is almost perfect too, and then back out and around. Okay, so now I was 6 miles slower and my exit speed was 3 miles slower than the reference. So My exit spot was 50 feet after the reference, which may be affecting my line. It's braking again. So something else that's very different for me too. Like I said, new setup and all that. My brake is a load cell brake now, and coming from the potentiometer spring-based brakes that I used to have. It's a huge difference. It really is. It takes a lot more force to push down. I'm still working on the adjustments. Like literally every single day, I'm sometimes even just flipping parts of the rig upside down. Everything has its adjustments, and I just want to make sure that this is as close to as a real feel as I can get and as comfortable as it can be. Okay, so I'm gonna look through this lap a little bit more, try to take away some good points of it, and then let's get into the daily race. All right, so here we are into the daily race. I am gonna be honest, I don't really have a lot of information about the actual race because this has been a couple days for me now and it's all just left my head. But what I will say is this race was good enough for me to think that I felt like I was really improving and I was genuinely like learning things from racing people, which is it's the first time for me to feel like that. So you can see there's a lot of contact in this race. These lower class lobbies really are just, they're hard, man. I'm torn between being someone who focuses a lot on qualifying times and also kind of focusing more on the cleanliness aspect, like all the way through the entire thing. So I don't know if that makes any sense what I just said, but what I mean is like when I'm racing, like right now, when I'm trying to figure out, okay, am I gonna overtake this person? Am I gonna try to get more speed, just wait another lap, figure out what I'm gonna do? I'm still learning how to even like guide what I'm supposed to be doing. So that's good. I mean, it's a really good sign for me to be improving. My class has gone up just a little bit for every race that I've done this week. Except for, of course, obviously racing incidents do happen, and in these lower D class lobbies they happen every turn. So trying to get it up, it really means you pretty much hang out in the back of the pack, stay clean as much as you can, let them all crash each other out, hopefully get anywhere above P5, where the faster people who are usually cleaner in these lobbies, they're all up there, you know, pretty much above like P6, P5, and the racing up there is really clean too. Although I will say I had some really good competition from this this back little half of the pack here. So we just passed a car that was AFK, and they don't get disqualified. They technically finish, I think. Honestly, I don't really remember. But I'm like 98% certain that car is there as a placeholder, like a spoof account for someone to join into, or they're using that as a way to like decrease their lobby, so then they get easier lobbies, and then when they go and play, they get they're actually a good driver, and they get they're two boxing is what it used to be called, or three boxing, I guess, is a thing nowadays too. Like I guess it always was a thing, but pretty much we have an alt account that you join that gets less competition on it, and then so I think one of the top drivers was using that account as an account to join or to decrease. I keep saying join because I don't know if you actually can join other drivers like as a friend kind of thing. They join the same race. I assume so, but I don't play with friends, so I don't really have that many friends, especially any who play, so it's hard to tell. But I think I think you can join your friends and drive. I feel like that makes sense. All right, so now coming into the turn here, this Citroen in front of me actually takes a pretty bad line and doesn't get a really good exit on the turn, and then also gets pushed a little wide by the other person, and they ghost right through me, thankfully. This is the POV of the person that I feel like this person took the corner pretty cleanly, and the Citroen was just way off to the left side there. And then bam, like that Audi just disappears, and all of a sudden I go from like 6th place into 3rd, which kind of like in the moment is nerve-wracking for me because I'm trying to still figure out how to handle the pressure of being in front of people who are faster than me, and it is really difficult to learn that whenever you're fighting people in the back of the pack 98% of the race. So either way, I'm really happy with this race, like I said. So we're gonna skip through not a lot of it, but a good amount of it, just because I think that the most important parts are what you guys are going to see. Now I know I have to do a pit stop sometime this race and switch over to hard tires. And I think this is the one race where I did a bit of a backward strategy than what I was doing, because I was going hard for 4 tires or for 4 laps, and then mediums for the rest. Now there is kind of a lot of dead space in this race where not a lot happens, so we're gonna skip through a good amount of that just to kind of wrap up this video in the way that I want to, as well as showcase a lot of the good highlights from this race. Also, if you guys have any recommendations or any ways that you think I can improve or just increase the quality of these videos, drop a comment, let me know. I am so excited to say that this is it's a success. I am growing on this channel after being gone for so long, and on top of that, I'm actually getting better at racing, so I'm very happy about that. Small little milestone update too, just passed 100,000 views for the whole channel. So if you made it to this point in the video and you listened to that, drop a comment down below letting me know that you're excited for the future or whatever you want to see from me. So anyways, back to the race now. So here we are at lap 7. I make a catastrophic failure this lap, where I'm trying to, in my head right now, I have the pace on this car in front of me. I'm in the perfect position to be set up by the end of the race to potentially be on a podium or at least staying in the position that I'm currently in. So I'm taking things very cautiously, trying to make sure I don't get any crazy excess like spins or anything at all like that. And I'm also trying to make sure that I maximize my lines, because while you guys see that readout above me, like on my above my webcam there, for me, I actually can look to the right a little bit, and I have my computer monitor which has that pulled up on it. So I'm kind of monitoring my times there, as well as my times in Gran Turismo, to see sectors I can improve on, and where I should maybe push a little more and where I shouldn't. I know it's kind of hard to tell with the display what's actually happening, but it is logging each lap, and then it's logging the information of those laps too, so braking points and acceleration points and all that. So, and it's all in this app still that I can go and access and view. I honestly don't know if I can view the specific lap, but I know I can at least view the session, and it'll generalize the whole session. So I think I keep saying it, but I really do think it's really useful. Maybe I'll find a better way to do the display of it and kind of put the telemetry in a cool position. I have seen people use the so right there, I cut the corner, that last corner, a little bit too much. I was just pushing it too hard, but I have seen people cut around the little tire indicators to show whether your tires are in a good standing or bad standing, or however that affects for whatever race you're on. Something you'll notice a little bit later near the end, my tires are getting a little worn, and you'll see I think you can see on that display that it shows that, but I don't really remember. So yeah, like I said, I was focused on trying to get really clean lines and push really hard during that lap 7, because I know that from 7 until the rest of this race, especially with that pit stop, this is really where you win that race. The first is about surviving and not getting spun out. This next stint is about gaining position and actually being pretty aggressive on the others. So there's collision in front of me there. The guy spins out, so now I'm back up into 5th place, which is, by the way, again, still, this is the best race finish I think I've had since I've started doing this again, but also in general. So so anyways, I get in front of that guy, but unfortunately I have the penalty, so now he's got me again. But coming down the back straight, I find myself in a really bad position where the car in front of me is too far ahead for me to get any slipstream, and the car behind me is too far behind me to get a bump draft. So I am kind of I'm really anxious at the moment, trying to be very cautious again. And now I'm being cautious of track limits, because I knew I was pushing them last lap, but I didn't think I was actually gonna get a penalty for that. So, and clearly that's dropped me down from the position I was in pretty far. So again, just focusing on clean entry, clean exit, smooth inputs. These are the things that I've been practicing for the past few weeks, doing these daily races. And I have been putting hours in every single day. Something that really is difficult for anyone to understand who doesn't do sim racing. as more than a hobby or like a fun game kind of thing. If you want to get good at this and you want to make content about it and you want to try all this stuff, you just have to get seat time, and it is so tricky with like regular life stuff and a full-time job and, you know, 5 kids and all that. It's hard for me to get good seat time and actually get my practice in. So when I can, any time throughout the week, I'm practicing, waking up early sometimes before work, like every day after work I'm hitting it too. And so when I do that, it's really difficult because I'll be doing it and I'll be playing, I'll be getting better and better, and I'm recording every session, and then I'm like, okay, now I have all these recordings, now I need to go make a video. So then I sit down to go make a video, and while I'm working on the video, I'm also still watching, you know, track guides and still watching other people do the daily races for the week. And I see, like, this week was really interesting. I really thought this was a good race this week. It's a great track. It's cool that it's in reverse. That's so fun, like, I think. But also, notice all the people around the corners and stuff. That has to be new, right? I feel like there was never a crowd, or like that much of a crowd. That made me feel very, like, the immersion was crazy, like kind of being really locked into that. Okay, just to wrap it up here, we are on the last lap now, and I wanted to just talk to you guys for a minute and kind of say, like, thank you for all the support on my latest videos. I have been really trying very hard to put everything out. Everything that I make, I've been trying to put out, even whether I think it's good or not, just to get it out, and trying to fully think through my ideas. It's been a very tricky thing for me lately. I've had such a rough couple years that nothing really feels, you know, like normal anymore. So we're just trying to get everything back to feeling good and feeling happy. Races like this make me happy. I love this race. This was fun. So this, like, I kind of said nothing happens until like here. This whole backpack, like, we have such a good race, and I'm upset going from 2nd to 9th, you know, in the way that I did. But again, at the very end of the race here, I'm just thinking, like, well, I got to learn from it. It was a clean race. I finished without any major spins, which is great. I get my tires a little dirty there, which is something I got to be careful of. I love that turn though. You can cut so much, and also we have contact. Whoops. But I don't overtake there. And then they have contact, and then this other guy tries to, dude, I don't even know what happens there. Look at that. They all force their way through that turn there, and I'm like, okay, at this point now I need to just get around these guys. I should have overtaken whenever like, look at how they're racing, dude. So now, as we come down into the final turns of this race, we are crazy chaotic. There's like 4 people right on me, and there's 3 people on me, and they are all going insane. So bam, one spins out, one hits the wall. This guy's right next to me. Okay, we are like side by side for this last little bit here, and bam, dude, crazy finish. That was a pretty good race there. I am so happy to have finished 5th. That is the best finish that I've had so far. So, and like I said before, I think that my driver rating is increasing because these lobbies are getting much more competitive and like good chaos and not bad chaos, if that makes sense. So it's been really good to do that. Thank you guys so much for watching and for all the support lately. My channel just passed 100,000 total like channel views, which isn't crazy, I know, but it's a lot for a small channel like me, especially someone who's been going for 10 years now. I've tried almost every hobby that I can think of that I like under the sun to make videos about, and this one apparently seems to be the one that people enjoy. So I'm okay with that. I absolutely love it. I am happy to keep learning. If you guys have tips, or if you want to check out the app that I was talking about, I can leave the link in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your day.